If you are of a certain age, chances are that you've spent some time with Springfield's favorite family. The Simpsons has been an institution longer than I've been alive. Now, the original Tracy Ullman shorts not applied, but it came out like a few months before I was born, and highly likely that it's just going to continue on in perpetuity, and can even after the original voice actors die, they're just going to end up repurposing their voices with AI like The Simpsons is gonna be around. It's good. It's basically prime time soap opera, at least in the way that it's distributed. It's gonna be around forever. But it's, if we're being completely honest, and I know I'm definitely not breaking any new ground on this one. Hey guys, did you hear? The Simpsons isn't quite as good as it used to be. Those first, I would go as far as to say, like, you could still find some gems in the 10th, 11th, 12th seasons, but I would probably, me personally, like the first 8 seasons are probably perfect, man. Like from 90 to 98, 99 still. There was nothing better than The Simpsons. It was a cultural phenomenon. And even though it's been a while, I know that it's still relevant. It is still in the cultural zeitgeist. There are still memes being made about how The Simpsons were the trendsetters back in the 90s. But that was a long ass time ago, man. And I think, like a lot of people have also pointed out, they probably should have packed it in on and around the time of the Simpsons movie, which it came out. We are officially at a tipping point, which is absolutely wild to think about. But I haven't seen anybody else who's been talking about this point this out. The movie came out in 2007, so the 17th season came out after the 17th season. I think it came out during the summer. It was one. Yeah, no, I'm pretty much certain it came out during the summer. Now, The Simpsons has been renewed to its 35th season, meaning at the end of that contract, there is going to be more seasons after The Simpsons movie than before that have come out, which is so wild to think about. And to be 1000% honest, sitting down and making The Simpsons appointment viewing on Sunday night hadn't been a thing since I was in, what would that have been, 7th grade? Like, that was the last time that I actually sat down and watched an episode of it. What would that be, 2004? Treehouse of Horror. Yeah, I watched Treehouse of Horror probably all the way through until the new year, and then after that, it just kind of fell off and never came back to it. Watched the movie, didn't go to the theater, but I do have the DVD around here. And yeah, I didn't start this off, and I don't even think that I've really talked about it all that much. I was a huge Simpsons fan, okay? Like, I've got all the DVDs, I can still see them down there, okay? I've got all the ones that they released, and then when they started to do the heads of them and the collector's DVDs, I got all of those as well. I've got some of the episode guides, season 1 through 8 is the first one, and then what is it, 9 through 15 or 9 through 12? I think 9 through 12 is a little thinner one, and then they have one that's a little bit larger, that's 13 to 16 or 13 to 15 or something like that. I've got that one packed away, but I got the 1 through 8 right there, just in case I need a reference like that, because the first 8 seasons, for me, are fucking perfect, man. But in the subsequent years, after everybody just kind of was like, The Simpsons is still on, what's the quality like? It's not as good as it used to be, okay? And everybody just started to refer to it as Zombie Simpsons. This is also just going back about 10 years at this point in time, which is wild to think about in and of itself. But yeah, everybody started to go, wow, who watches it? But it still ends up pulling like 6 million households still tune into The Simpsons, so Fox in general has no incentive to cut it down. And now that Disney owns Fox, why in the hell would they ever quit it? If that many people are turning in to check out to see what the tired voices of Dan Castellaneta, Yeardley Smith, Nancy Cartwright, and the rest of the gang are doing, well, hell, why would they ever pull the plug? But the writing has kind of been on the wall. The Simpsons has undergone a bit of a transformation, like when the Michael Jackson stuff, okay, in on and around, what was that, the Wade Robson, Jimmy Safechuck accusations, and especially around the Leaving Neverland time, starting to pull from season 2, the Michael Jackson episode. They pulled that from digital distribution, which is why I'm super happy that I have all of my physical media. I will always, for anything that I really like, I will always get the physical release over the digital copies. And I implore you to, because they're just going to be doing that with even more regularity now, especially with all of these other streaming services collapsing when there's only like 3 or 4 left of them. There's going to be a monopoly on the information. They'll just go ahead and change it at a moment's notice. They already did that. Actually, WWE did that with their Peacock streaming deal, cutting out some of the more insensitive material that wouldn't resonate with a modern audience. Well, nothing from the WWE resonates with a modern audience. Have you seen their ratings lately? But going back to The Simpsons, yeah, there was some head-scratching decisions from pulling the Michael Jackson episode. And then all the stuff from, what is that, like a half decade ago at this point in time with the race-appropriate voices. You had Dr. Hibbert could no longer be voiced. Did Hank Azaria provide the voice for Dr. Hibbert? But if he did, no, he had to take a step back from that role, and he had to let a black guy voice a black cartoon character. I don't know where that logic checks in. I don't know how many yellow voice actors you could have cast for The Simpsons, but I don't know. It depends on what their viewing figures in the East are. But the one that you more than likely heard about, if you didn't hear much about the Michael Jackson stuff that, got dusted up a few years ago, was retiring the character of Apu Nahasa Pedlon, because he was racially insensitive to one failed Indian actor who was out there, who had a documentary called The Problem with Apu, and Hank Azaria just being a total bitch about it and going, I'm so sorry, and then going on the fucking apology tour. Dude, you were all about funny shit. Like, you were in Mystery Men, for Christ's sakes. You apologized for that? Don't. I'm not asking for that either. But The Simpsons, yeah, it's had a problem trying to maintain relevance, still trying to maintain any of that goodwill they had en masse from everybody who remembers the old halcyon days of the 90s and early 2000s. It's just not there anymore. So now what are you doing? Well, you're just kind of thrashing about. And this right here, now you're starting to dig into the staples. Like one of the great gags right up there with, and I don't think he does this anymore, but Bart calling into Moe's with those epic prank calls. Like, I don't think he's done that. Like, that was a trope, or I'm sorry, that was a little gag that was kind of falling off even back when I was watching it. But Homer Simpson going, why, you little? Like, that's iconic, man. That's right up there with Ned Flanders' Hi Diddly Ho. Like, it's right there, man. It's one of the first things that you think about when The Simpsons gets brought up. Now he's not going to do it because, I have no idea, but he unironically said this, okay? The Simpsons patriarch simply acknowledged that times have changed in a recent episode. After 34 years on air, yeah, because it started in Christmas of '89, because when they got Santa's Little Helper, their Greyhound, that was a Christmas episode. Bart got the tattoo on his arm that said "Mom." Oh, I was gonna say mother, but no, yeah, I was gonna say mother, but it says moth. And then instead of getting Christmas gifts, they have to get Bart's tattoo removed with all the money that was there. Man, The Simpsons was so good. The first season is like, yeah, that's. If I ever do a rewatch of The Simpsons, I have, like, a long time ago. I always started my rewatches with season 3. I'm even lukewarm on season 2, but from 3 to 8, perfect. But yeah, 34 years. Well, that'll be next year, right? Or no, I guess, technically right now. Anyways. And more than 750 episodes. Yo. I think they've been renewed all the way through. No, that would be way too far. But yeah, more than 750 episodes. I'll just continue. The Simpsons could be expected to be stuck in their ways, but instead they've decided to comport themselves to modern audiences, which has worked for what other entertainment property? We're coming up with nothing. Yet, a new edition of the much-loved cartoon has shown its willingness to keep moving with the culture that surrounds it. What culture? Not the shitty wrestling-centric YouTube channel. But, like I posited in my black, I guess that would have been, no, I'm sorry, Blade. Oopsie daisy, a little racism. But in the Blade video, when I just said, if anybody just, wants to, ride the cultural wave that's out there right now and capitalize on it big time when it comes to entertainment, I just have a character that is unabashedly masculine, because the population at large likes gender roles. They like societal norms. They like edgy jokes. They like risky jokes they had for a long time, and then all of a sudden the no fun police come in and they start to take over the human resources department and tell you that everything is all about feelings, when in actuality everybody likes their feelings compromised just a little bit at the expense of somebody else. And it's only the freaks on the fringe that want to go ahead and put bubble wrap on everything around them. It's just, it doesn't reflect the actual world. It reflects the little independent bubbles that are out on the coastal areas. But for the people that live day-to-day lives, regular lives, that's just not it. Anyways, as a patriarch, Homer Simpson has revealed he no longer strangles his son, Bart. I also want to know, was this just one of those things that Homer would do? And like I said, it's been a long time since I watched, so this could be an earnest comment, but something that he would just go ahead and, put up a false front, but then just immediately cut over to go, why, you little... But anyways, a running joke, just to dismiss this as a running joke, whatever, man. That's like the intro of Homer pulling in the driveway is a running joke. Is an animated series. Oh, yeah, in the animated series, sorry, is involving Homer reprimanding his mischievous eldest son by squeezing his neck tightly to the extent that Bart's eyes bulge out, his tongue sticks out. Yes, exactly. And it's so wild when all of this helicopter parenting shit started to really kick off in the late 90s, early 2000s with the rise of single mothers. Another topic for another time. Like if they were all worried about media influencing my children, okay, I don't know how many kids were, being choked to a point where their eyes were bulging out and that their, tongue was flapping around outside of one specific night at the Benoit household. Like that shit didn't happen, and The Simpsons was more popular than indoor plumbing, so I guess it's fair. Given the fact that that's not the modern audience. We're talking about this modern audience now. Despite being one of the most recognizable features of Homer and Bart's father-son dynamic, the action has been frequently criticized for its brutality. Who's criticizing it? The people that don't watch The Simpsons, never liked The Simpsons, don't understand that, a rough and tumble relationship between father and son is actually healthy, but these people never had a father to begin with, so they wouldn't know. It's the third episode of season 35, titled McMansion and Wife. Homer declares he has changed his ways when he and his wife Marge pay their visit to their new neighbor, Thayer. I liked it when Homer's new neighbor was George H.W. Bush and then later Gerald Ford. Hey Homer, do you like football? Would you like to come over and what? That episode's great. H.W. playing a Mr. Wilson role to a Dennis the Menace analogy to Bart. It was so great. And now it's like... whatever, man. Okay. When Homer introduces himself, with a handshake, the new character remarks how firm Homer's grip is. See, Marge, strangling the boy paid off, Homer remarks, before adding, just kidding. I don't do that anymore. Times have changed. And then, I don't know if there's anything that, continues on after that, but given what else you hear about Simpsons and the fact that it's totally betrayed what made it popular to begin with, I can totally agree that that was just the end of that sentence and statement. The first episode aired late last month, October 22nd, but the remark from Homer generated online controversy when the scene was posted by a viewer on X on Thursday, November the 2nd. That also shows you, okay, because when The Simpsons was appointment viewing, every magazine, every morning talk show was talking about what The Simpsons did last night. Because you can remember, Do the Bartman tracked on the Billboard charts, for Christ's sakes. We're never going to see a television show as popular as The Simpsons ever again. Took them long enough. A user baby lamb 5 added to the as a caption, "Shut up." In response, other fans of the show commented Homer acknowledging his disturbing actions towards Bart, with one comment reading, "I knew my man Homer was going to learn." Last time Homer was depicted strangling Bart was in season 31, 2019 to 2020. However, the topic of parent-child violence has been covered on several occasions before that. Yes, exactly. So if you didn't want to do the gag anymore, you didn't need to go ahead and have, a proper eulogy for it. You just could have sunset it, because whoever's watching season 31 of The Simpsons highly likely didn't watch season 21 of The Simpsons, season 11 of The Simpsons. Definitely don't even know that there's a season 1 of The Simpsons. Probably just thought that it's always been on. But man, as time has gone on, and as much as I do love The Simpsons, I do have some problems with it for, probably driving home the trope of the father just being the useless, bumbling idiot. A fire that was initially sparked off by Married with Children, but then reached full engulfed blaze by the time that The Simpsons really kicked off. But he always had that underlying air of he was doing it all for the family, but then it eventually just kind of flipped around. Because something else, I think about The Simpsons probably as much as I think about the Roman Empire, but it's like Homer Simpson eventually did become just the bumbling asshole character, which I'm sure they're probably never going to go ahead and refine for, modern audiences. But when they did the flashback episode, when Marge finds out that she's pregnant with Maggie after Homer leaves his job at the nuclear power plant to go take his dream job working at the bowling alley, and then he has to come groveling back through the little dog supplicant door in order to get his job back from Mr. Burns, and then he puts up the sign that says, "Don't forget you're here forever," and then Homer ends up putting a bunch of different baby pictures that's on there. Remember, you're doing it for her. That was a good message, but you're not going to get anything like that out of modern day Simpsons. You're never going to get those actual life lessons that made those first few seasons so iconic, so legendary, so ingrained in the societal zeitgeist. All you're just going to get is one-off celebrity appearances. Okay, maybe Lady Gaga will just roll up on her train one more time. But yeah, man, The Simpsons has been dead for a lot of people for a very long time. And when it eventually does close up shop, if it ever eventually does in my lifetime, it'll be a sad time. It'll be a sad point in history, but keep on capitulating to the mob that's just not caring about this stuff. Anyways, in an attempt to continue to be modern, well, you're just going to find that end coming creeping ever more quickly every single time you bow to the mob. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.